Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success presents The Momentum Shift. A show where we get inspired, we get moving, and we get results. Every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with your host, Eric Collier. He's the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, bringing you inspiring interviews and empowering stories that will help to improve lives. If you're ready to start making the impossible possible, then you've joined the right show, because the Momentum Shift is what you've been looking for.
Hello, you're tuned in to the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, where leaders come to ignite clarity, elevate purpose, and create unstoppable forward motion. Today's guest is a Silicon Valley powerhouse, Dr. Mitchell Levy. He's built 20 companies, launched 4 publishing firms that have produced over 750 books, and served as chairman of the board for a NASDAQ listed company. When it comes to leading in high stakes environments, Dr. Mitchell doesn't just speak from theory, he speaks from experience. He's the mind behind Executive Abundance, helping CEOs and C-suite leaders show up with clarity, credibility, and purpose when every moment matters. And if you haven't heard him on a previous podcast, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, he's fun and incredibly informative. So buckle up, because your momentum is about to shift now. I'm Eric Collier, the mayor of motivation, and welcome our guest, Dr. Mitchell Levy. Doc, thank you for joining
us. Now I have to live up to that amazing intro. Thank you.
You know, I've been really excited about having you join me on the show. Just doing the research on you and all you're doing with helping people, just, what is it called? The C-pop. Help me with that one. And we can talk a little bit more about that one, because you always hear people about pitch and you know, but now you're talking C-pop. It's a total different aspect. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But before we get started, I'll ask you this question, and it's the question I always ask everybody. This show is about momentum shifting. Tell us a little bit about you and how momentum shifting has helped you reach the point that you are in.
Well, I don't know which momentum shift you want me to focus on. There are many, right? So do you have, what would you like? What worked really well for somebody in the past? What's interesting? Younger one, an older one, momentum that builds on each other. What do you, there's so many. So,
well, you know, I look at it as, you know, when I started my transformation, my shift kicked in at the age of 30. I was getting out of the military, married, 3 kids, and it was kind of like, where do I go? What do I do? I'm not really happy with what I'm doing or what I'm about to do. What else is there? How do I get out of it? So at that age, you know, that 30-year-old age, you know, the partying is slowing down, you know, the family's there, and you're starting to really step into who you really should become, right? Or who you could become. That piece there, it's like, I'm slowing down. What's next? How can I achieve a higher level? So I can go on, but I know, you know, when you're getting out of the military, it's like I'm transitioning from a sure thing to what next?
Well, I could do that one. That's an interesting one. I have lived in Silicon Valley for 40 years, happily married for 37, have a 28-year-old son who's absolutely spectacular.
Awesome.
And what happened is I was working for traditional companies. Particularly, I worked for Sun Microsystems, which is, some would argue, the father. Yeah, the father of the internet, but sort of. Yeah. And I left at somewhere towards the beginning of the .com days.
Okay.
And so the momentum, thought process, I was at Sun for 9 years. And somewhere around years 5 or 6, I'm like, yeah, this is not really it. And I got a mentor who actually drew me a framework that helped me figure out how to move on to what's next.
All right.
And the huge momentum was when I left Sun, I became a e-commerce consultant in the days of the .com boom. And just to tell you about momentum, Accenture, a hiring manager from Accenture, got in front of an audience like 100 Silicon Valley people and said the following words: "We are hiring. If you could spell the word e-commerce, you have a job at our company."
Oh, wow. I like it.
How
Great
about that for a moment?
opportunity.
So essentially, all I had to do is hold up my hand, and money was falling from trees because I focused on e-commerce, integrating the internet to what they were doing. I was asked by San Jose State to create a executive business program. So I created the e-commerce management program. I
Okay.
used that to get to one of the largest conferences on the planet at the time, which was
Oh,
called Comdex. And I
okay.
ended up running 4 conferences for Comdex. When people and companies would come in, they'd want to know the person behind this e-commerce education and training movement. And then they would be some sort of either consulting or coaching opportunities that came out of that. So I was
Nice.
riding the wave of momentum.
Yeah.
Now, momentum actually sometimes stop. So the dot bomb
Yes.
sort of
Little
momentum, like
setback.
abrupt halt, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, what I like that because a lot of times you freely stepped into it. There are people who like myself, you would be faced with opportunities and you go, well, I don't know if that's it. I need to get a little bit more information. I need to research. I need to get a little bit more responses from other people to tell me what to do or tell me what they think. I like how you just jumped into that.
I'd say the one of the things that happened. So the dot bomb came.
Hmm.
And my business actually literally went to zero.
Okay.
Now, what saved me is during the time frame, one of the students from the e-commerce management program, older than me, came to me and said, "Hey, Mitchell, I'm starting a CEO networking group. I tried it myself. It didn't work. I can't do it without you. I'll give you a third of the company. And you don't have to do any work."
Nice.
Just to be clear, when somebody says you don't have to do any work and it involves a networking company, you
Yeah,
can't actually have a networking company where you don't actually network. So
exactly.
it was a good amount of work. That particular business was making $60,000 a year compared to the high six figures of the e-commerce work I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just about ready to say, "Hey, listen, this has got to go." And then the dot bomb came. The e-commerce business almost literally overnight went to zero, and
Okay.
then 60,000 a year looked really good,
Right. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it helped me think about a couple of lessons, right?
Okay.
One lesson, and this is lessons you should take. A, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
So that was a really cool basket, right?
Ah, yes.
um, B, it's not you,
Okay.
right? If sometimes things happen, like there is nothing that I could have done to stop the dot bomb from actually happening. It just
Right.
happened. Now, am I going to wallow in it and cause me not to take the next leap? Or do I just go, no, not me. Well, what's next? Where do I go?
Right.
Right. And so what I did is I started building a business around the CEO networking. And then that's about the time that I started meeting a lot of people and ultimately created a publishing company.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's the interesting part is a lot of times, if you do a lot of analysis paralysis,
Yes.
you really do get stuck.
Yeah.
And the,
I call it mental quicksand.
yeah, yeah. Now, so some people call it God winks if you're very religious.
Okay.
Some people call it allowing the universe to present opportunities,
Yeah. I like it.
or you could just simply call it serendipity.
Uh-huh.
But serendipity has presented almost every major move for me in my life.
Okay.
And so what has to happen is you have to be open. You have to pay attention to it. You
Yeah.
have to listen and then make a decision.
Yeah.
I have one right now. Do I want to actually go to India and speak? It would be on my dime, and I have to decide: is that serendipity saying yes,
Hmm.
or is it not the right place for me?
Gotcha.
Right. But there are many. I've got a number of speaking opportunities. That's just one. I'm thinking about, right?
Yeah.
The There are many. Momentum's a fascinating. Here's a great example. In B school, I actually had done independent research for a professor, and I actually helped prove a formula that he was trying to make work. He then used my research to get a job.
Oh, wow.
I was going to the College of William and Mary.
Yes.
You know that. And then
Familiar.
he ended up getting a job at Colonial Mutual Fund in Boston. And 2 weeks after I shared with him the fact that I'm writing a paper, I'd love for him to be part of it. Imagine this. So you go to your professor, you hold him in high esteem and say, "Hey, I'm
Right.
writing a paper based on this stuff. I want to put your name on it. Would you mind if I do this?" And his
Yeah.
first response was, "I mind. No, you can't." And like for a second, what does that mean? He
Yeah.
goes, "Well, I got a job at Colonial Mutual Fund, and you're coming with me."
Oh, nice. Yes, he took you with
Okay,
him.
that's
I thought you were
that's
gonna tell me
momentum.
I thought you were telling me he's gonna take all the credit for it.
Dude, if I did not do that, I
Yeah.
would not have met my wife. I would not have been in the place
Wow.
I am right now. Right?
Nice.
This is sort of listening to what comes your way.
Yeah. I like that because I think having an open mind is huge. And sometimes we close our mind and we get caught up with what's comfortable and what's working. And we just want to stick with that. And so we end up finding ourselves riding that wave until it goes flat and it hits the beach and we got nothing. Right. So I
That
think
happens.
I think that's great. I always tell people I think one of the reasons we miss opportunities is because we have a vision and because things don't happen the way that we plan it out or we see it, and the gift comes in a different packaging or package or wrapping, that we miss out on it because we want it to be perfect. Well, I like what you just did there, man. That was pretty cool. Like you took advantage of the opportunity. You seem to be a person who says yes a lot and not no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Not yeah. Yeah, that's not the right thing. I was sort of the answer is why say no if you don't have to?
Right.
Sometimes it could be the yes and,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
when an interesting opportunity happened for me when in the earlier days, I was running the courses. I was just a teacher at San Jose State.
Okay.
And it was getting paid good money for, a professional development. It was like $110 an hour. This is
Yeah.
back in the dot-com days in the late 90s. That was good money. And but it was so little compared to the consulting work I was doing.
Right.
And so when I went to the dean, I didn't go in saying, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I went in saying, I either have to do more or I have to do less,
Okay. I like
right?
it.
Because if you present something that way, then I got the gift. The gift
Right.
was, why don't you create an executive business program for us?
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard. Like, okay, let me give that some thought. Let's put time on. Oh, by the way, this is how you close. Let's put time on the calendar 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, no, it's not going to work, or I'll tell you what I want to do.
Okay.
So
Nice.
here's what happened. I go into during that time, I just realized this is the answer. It's one of those things you would love this. Uh, I every time I heard somebody speak, I'm like, oh, that's a good professor. Oh, that's a good professor. Right. So I ended up walking in saying, listen, 9 months from now in September, we'll start the program. I'll go ahead and I'll hire the faculty members and I'll pay them.
Right.
And I don't want you to pay me anything. I just want you to give me 25% of the door.
Nice. Okay.
Now, they never had anyone create a program that actually was successful. This is called e-commerce management. It turned
Yeah.
out to be the first program of any university around the world where we're talking about using the internet inside of businesses. So
Nice.
I knew it would be super successful.
Yeah.
And so they rushed to sign the contract. Well, we sold over 4,700 courses.
Nice.
Um, it was over $2 million worth of revenue, and they really didn't like writing the checks for, a $500,000.
Right.
And
It
what
worked out well.
it worked out well because I don't like to say no. I like to say yes. And sometimes the when when opportunity comes your way and you have absolutely zero time, you then have to say, well, how can I do this?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, so if I say yes to you, what am I saying no to? So when you're working inside of a
Right. Right.
company,
Yeah.
right, there's limited constraints,
Right.
right? There's limited resources overall. So if somebody says, I need this project done a week earlier, great. Either how much more money can I have? How many more resources can I have? Or
Yeah.
what of the things I'm doing today do you want me to drop? It's a,
Yeah,
and
exactly. I
and
can't do them
so,
all.
but instead of complaining and being that person, I can't do it, I'm not gonna do all this other stuff, you could just go, okay, well, let me come back to you with choices, and then
Yeah.
you can help make choices. And
Yeah.
then if the boss says, make whatever choices you want, you go, great.
Yeah.
I'm making these choices. Let me tell you what's not going to happen.
Right.
Right. And you just present the consequences
Yeah.
of that choice. And
I like it. You're setting boundaries, you're setting the tone, you're basically creating the opportunity for yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if the person wants a yes, you could say yes, and the yes has some cost somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I love it, man. I love that. Just boom. But I can sit and listen to you all day. But I want to make sure we cover a little bit more of what you're doing. I think
Oh, cool.
your story sets the tone for credibility. I mean, when you look at all you've done, you've been successful. Yes, may have had some failures, you may have been
Oh,
stopped, some setbacks, but basically overall, while you're here today, where you're at, the level you're working at now, you continue to push forward. And that's the momentum that we're talking about. So, what I want to talk about with that credibility piece is you've interviewed 500 thought leaders and on credibility. And what have you learned from that has helped you again help the clients that you work with?
oh my goodness. I'm going to show for those who are just listening, take a look at the show notes. For those who are watching, I'm actually showing the updated definition of credibility. So
Okay.
I interviewed 500 thought leaders between 2019 and 2020, and I got two amazing gifts. Actually, many gifts, but I got two amazing gifts. One is what you're seeing here, the updated definition of credibility, where credibility is the quality in which you're trusted, known, and liked. And underneath that, there are values. So there are 10 values associated with credibility, right?
Yeah.
The second gift, and we'll come back to the second one, is I actually was downloaded the formula for clarity.
Okay.
And that's what the CPOP is, your customer point of possibilities.
Okay.
But going back to clarity, what's really interesting um, is that it, I'm sorry, going back to credibility, what's really interesting is if you look at those top lines, at least the top two,
Uh-huh.
under being trustworthy, you got to be coachable.
Yeah.
Whenever a board will send me a CEO and say, "Hey, can you coach this person?" Yeah, let me have a conversation first. I'm testing for one and only one thing: are they coachable?
Got you.
And I will do some test so that they have an opportunity to be coachable. And
Right.
and if they know it all, that's great. They also will know that they will not get me as a coach.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is when you're being trusted, this is more of how you show up externally,
Mhm.
right? Do you have authenticity? Do you have integrity? Are you vulnerable?
Right.
Now, I'm going to talk about being known, but I want you to notice something here. The word integrity appears twice. It's
Yeah.
the only value that appears twice.
Okay.
And
Why
what's
is that?
interesting to me, actually, so I'll be a little vulnerable. When I published the results, I did not know it was twice. I didn't know why. I just knew it was.
It's just in your gut.
And well, the numbers, well, it was qualitative, quantitative. The numbers showed it, right? So
Okay.
what was interesting is that the integrity associated with being trustworthy is who you say you are.
Okay.
The integrity associated with being known as who you really are.
Okay.
So imagine, I'm sure this happens occasionally, not in the Navy, but other people. You're talking to somebody and the hair in the back of your neck sticks up, or even if you're thinking about situational awareness
Yeah.
and the hair in the back of your neck sticks up, when it comes to people, it's because there's a disconnect between their external integrity and their internal integrity,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Those are just words around something that I hadn't really thought about before.
Yeah.
But as you get to know somebody, what's the most important thing? They're a servant leader. They're
Yeah.
coachable. They're a servant leader.
Right.
Now, to be a servant leader, you also have to have the intent and commitment to do the right thing.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people, Eric, I'm going to go back to authenticity. A lot of people say, hey, authenticity, that's the only thing to worry about. Well, authenticity is okay, but you could authentically be a bad person. You could authentically be hedonistic. You can demonstrate authenticity and not have the intent and commitment to do the right thing for the audience you're serving.
Got you.
Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is the fun part, being likable. Very simple,
Uh,
right? One is to show respect.
okay.
Now, let me talk about what you've done. You've done research on me.
Yes.
You've liked what I've done. You made sure you pronounced my name properly. You came early to our talk, right? You're showing for me. I always for a talk when I'm on podcasting, I come 10 minutes early. I always come prepared and I always come with my heart.
Yeah.
Right. I was kind of shocked when I was doing the 500 interviews, how many people were just I couldn't see them. Like they were talking, but
Right.
they were just sharing their canned messages that they would normally
Gotcha.
say.
Yeah.
So showing respect, if you want to be likable, show respect. And the second thing is share your stage.
Got you.
Dude, you're doing both right now. You're
Yeah.
sharing your stage of me, right? So I think the interesting part is I now live in this world, in this vocabulary, and I actually thought before I did my dissertation, I actually thought that credibility was the answer. My TEDx is called "We Are Losing Our Humanity," and I'm tired of watching it happen.
Yeah.
And I just thought if we did nothing more than follow these 10 credible things, we'd be more humane to everything.
Right.
And what I ultimately learned about 5.5 years after I did the research is that credibility and clarity are things that people need, but not what they want
Mm.
because they already think they're credible or they don't necessarily think they really need it or they already think they have clarity.
Okay.
I can't even tell you how many people who even sell clarity, when I say to them, okay, in 3 to 9 words, where do you execute on your purpose? And then 5 minutes later, they're still telling me, wait, did you
Uh-huh.
not hear 3 to 9 words?
Wow.
where,
Yeah.
where do you live? So what's interesting is I really thought credibility was the answer. So I went through a period of my life, 2020-ish, well, maybe 2019, 2020 till 3 years later, where I was running a credibility business
Okay.
and I was making money, but it wasn't really a change the world thing. And I ultimately, what ended up happening is I go, hey, let's create a clarity business. So I
Yeah.
created a clarity certification program.
Okay.
Um, and that was kind of cool too for a year. But can I tell you a slap in the face I had that gave me the momentum I have today? I guess the ultimate momentum for me.
Okay. Who was that?
All right. So there's a friend of mine by the name of Ken Cook.
Okay.
Ken gets on Zoom. This is about 2 years ago. I had entered the PhD program, but I hadn't started my dissertation work yet because credibility and clarity wasn't something I was going to do incremental research on.
Okay.
And Ken gets on the Zoom and he looks me in the eye. He goes, Mitchell, I know every living marketing legend alive today, and I don't know anyone who knows clarity the way you do.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
boom, huge
Right.
head. Like, I'm not sure I'd be able to go out of my door back into my house, right?
It's like confirmation I'm doing the right path, right?
Yeah. So then he said, how many people don't have clarity? Now, based on the research, that percentage is 98%.
Okay.
98% of companies and humans do not have clarity.
Okay.
It's huge. I mean, absolutely huge. He goes, Mitchell, I'm going to tell you something you're not going to like. So here I am. He sets me up. He tells me something amazing.
Right.
And then he tells me he could tell me something. I couldn't imagine what it
Got
would be.
the needle for the balloon.
That's exactly it. I want to tell you in 3 sentences, he was able to take a needle and hit and pop my balloon, right?
Yeah.
Here's what he said. He goes, Mitchell, you're world class at something that 98% of your audience doesn't have. They don't have it because they either think they have it and they don't, or they
Mhm.
don't think they need it.
Wow.
Either way, that sucks.
Yeah. Wow.
And you know what, Eric, he was not wrong.
Yeah.
He was not wrong. So he gave me an immediate gift. First gift was he goes, all right, Mitchell, look me in the eyes. What could you do for me this minute that would put money in my pocket tomorrow? Immediately, what popped out of my head was executive presence.
Okay.
As a book publisher that has helped publish over 750 books, as someone who's spoken from stage a lot, thought leadership was really important. But when I was thinking about everything, it's like, what's the bigger picture? It's not just what you say it, how you show up, how you do it consistently, your
Yeah.
integrity being aligned. So executive presence, which has then morphed into what I'm now calling executive abundance.
Okay.
And
Nice.
the other gift came in the morning when I woke up.
What was that?
I said it before, but I'll now say it in how I meant it. I woke up and go, oh, I need to do something that I've known for a long time and have ignored.
Okay.
Sell them what they want, deliver what they need.
I like it.
So that sort of popped to me in a moment. So Ken both gave me what became executive abundance, and then the sell them what they want, deliver what they need. It was a little heart-wrenching when I realized I had spent 5.5 years of my life selling people what they needed,
Yeah.
because I realized that credibility and clarity are what people need, not what they want.
They didn't want it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like I wasn't able to find sales. It's not like I wasn't able to eke a business. I just wasn't able to put something on the marketplace that was sort of transformational from a world-changing perspective.
Right.
And we'll see what happens with
Yeah.
executive abundance.
But what I like is you went with your heart. You went with your heart and you went and you worked on all these things. But had you not gone that route, you probably would not have ran into Kent.
It,
Do you do? Yeah.
it, you know, it, the universe works in many ways. I may not have been hit the same way if he
Yeah.
said the same thing to me at a different point in time.
Right.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just I was just so ready. If I wasn't part of the PhD program,
Yeah.
I may not have done a dissertation, but all of a sudden he said that.
Yeah.
I recognized that executive abundance was the answer. And one of the first things I did, I changed what's called my CPOP. I called up one of my friends who runs conferences.
Yeah.
He loved what I had to say and said, hey, you should do a keynote.
Okay.
Because the way I work different than other
Yeah.
humans, not different than everybody, but so don't tell anyone. I did the keynote first
Yeah.
because in practicing for a keynote, I needed to understand the languaging and be able to speak. And then I'm like, I did the keynote. Let me write the book. So then I
Okay.
wrote the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I did the book. The book is really good. Okay, now let me do the dissertation.
Nice.
So I know it's backwards, right? You
Yeah.
normally do the dissertation first,
Right.
then the book, then the talks. And then I
But you got
rewrote.
proof, right? Proof is proof now for the dissertation, right?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
then what ended up happening, I'll stop in a minute because this number will drive you crazy. It does for me every time I think about it. So wrote the book. I thought it was really good. Printed copies, gave it to a handful of people just to read, give me some feed forward on.
Yeah.
And then I started doing the dissertation and I started learning in the dissertation what was missing in the book, because things that started unraveling as I started doing more research.
Right.
And it turns out that I made 600 changes to the book from the time it was done. Once I started learning what I needed to change because of the dissertation,
Yeah.
600 changes.
Wow. Okay.
It was kind of interesting, right? I
Yeah,
mean, normally you
600.
don't.
Wow.
The only reason I kept track is somebody else on the team was doing, the Adobe Illustrator
Yeah.
transformation. So I just used a document that was, change it from this to this.
Yeah.
And and so we kept track of the number of rows and like, holy cow, this is growing.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you mentioned it a couple of times. You mentioned CPOP. Talk to me a little bit about CPOP and how you use that in the executive C-suite.
Well, what's interesting, if I can say something really simple, the if anybody can articulate in 3 to 9 words where you're executing on your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
that will be your North Star.
Okay.
If you have a North Star, everything else becomes simple,
Yeah.
right? If you look at your LinkedIn profile, you look at your websites, you look at what the company is saying out loud, you look at, how actions are happening, you're looking at how things are transformed, where measurement happens. It's all based on 3 to 9 words
Okay.
because you have a compass, yeah, or North Star, depending on how you want
Right.
to look at it, right?
Yeah.
I actually look at it as a compass, North Star, and magnet.
Okay.
Because if you
So,
can update all of your social media, if you could update how you present and you do it consistently, both online and offline, you now have taken this thing called CPOP and made it your magnet.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
people get attracted to that. I'll tell you what a CPOP is in a moment, and
Yeah.
I'll give you the definition.
Okay.
So what's fascinating is when I hear somebody talk, it's very natural for me. I now listen to how consistent they are in terms of the playground they play in.
Okay.
Right now, I use these words very. I don't think work should be work. I think work should be fun. And if
Yeah.
work equals fun, then where do you play? And if you
Right.
play in your playground, how do you play? So now let me give you the definition of CPOP, and then I'll go back to answering your question.
Okay.
Uh, CPOP is 2 components. By the way, this is the secret formula. Right now, I have to say,
Write it down, ladies and gentlemen, the secret formula
this
of
is a
CPOP.
secret formula. And even when I give people the formula, 98% of people will not get it right, even with the formula.
Really? Wow.
Why? Because all of these marketing cookie cutter approaches that are out there will tell you that it can't be this simple.
Okay.
Okay, so the formula comes in 2 pieces. First piece, who do you serve?
Okay.
In 1, 2, or 3 words, who is it that you serve? Now, we've been taught that it needs to be huge. I serve humanity. Well, try to make it as narrow as you
Right.
possibly can, right?
Right.
More narrow, better. The second piece, and this is really interesting from their perspective, from the audience you serve's perspective,
Hmm.
what is their primary pain point or what is their primary pleasure point?
Okay.
And if you can do that, everything becomes simple. Mine at the moment, fast growing CEOs living executive abundance.
Okay.
What a good CPOP does is a person on the other side then asks the question, tell me more.
Gotcha.
Hey, Mitchell, I got this company. I don't know if we're a fast growing CEO. Tell you more. Mitchell, what's this executive abundance thing? Oh, I read your book, Executive Abundance. Does it apply to me? Anything that's a tell me more
Yeah.
means that I could then talk about it in more detail. But what's interesting is a lot of times you're talking to somebody that what's really easy or thinking when you're talking to somebody who's not an existing customer, like I said, we'll come back to your customer question, who's
Yeah.
not an existing customer, they're one of 3 people. Go to a networking event. They're one of 3 people. They're either a prospect, a referral partner, or
Mhm.
they don't care.
Right.
Doesn't mean they don't care about you. It just means they don't care about the playground you play in.
Right.
If they ask you to tell me more, that means they're either a referral partner or a prospect.
Nice. I like that.
Kind of,
Yeah.
I like simple. I like
Yeah, I
simple.
like it.
So
You know what's cool about that is I used to when I first started this, I would find myself talking to a group of people, and there would be that person with the arms folded and they're just frowning and they're turning around looking, and I would turn my focus to that person and I would miss out on the opportunity to talk to those people, like you said, who are asking questions and want to know more. That's a great piece what you just talked about.
isn't that interesting? Because we want, as humans, we want everyone to like us or everyone to love us.
Yeah.
And the point is, maybe it just was not a good day for that person,
Yeah.
or something happened at home, or it just wasn't the right topic, right? So anyhow, the going back to your question to me was, Mitchell, how do you do that inside a company? Well, so let's do a bigger picture.
Okay.
I don't I don't actually tell anyone to do anything, right?
Okay.
As a coach, I'm not going to tell you what to do and how to act and what to be. What we're going to do is we're going to articulate your CPOP, what playground you play in.
Okay.
Now, once I understand the playground you play in, I will be your accountability partner to make sure you play in your playground,
Okay. Nice.
right? So what happens is when if it's a large company, which are a large employee base, each member of the executive team will have a slight variant of the CPOP because
Okay.
their customer base finance, for instance, serves internal versus external, right?
Right.
So that there's a slight variant, right?
Okay.
And so what happens is you, I'll, you, what's the best way? What ends up happening is that I help people get a lexicon. I help them create a new language.
All right.
Because when we talk about C-pop, what I want to encourage people to start thinking about is C-popping. Are you effectively C-popping,
See,
right?
Bobby.
And sometimes
He
you
creating
could
all kind of
go,
acronyms and sayings. I love it.
I know, well, what happens if people really dive into this?
Hmm.
Then you start thinking about all the stuff that's out there. Is this adding value?
Yeah.
Like when there are 20 goals that the company or organization needs to, are they the right goals? Is that getting in the way? If every company has a different set of values, well, isn't it just credible values? There are a ton of
Yeah.
just right to why do you need your own set of
Yeah.
10 values,
So
right?
you bring up an interesting point. So at what point how long does the cease pop last, and when should they start looking at, hey, maybe we need to shift?
Now that's a great question. And I can't, I could tell you that for companies and individuals, it changes often until people, get into the right groove.
Right.
Um, Companies, the bigger the company, the harder it is to shift more than year over year.
Okay.
But the thing is, life changes so fast,
Yeah.
right?
But now with
And so,
technology too, right?
and yeah, and so what changes is if who you serve change and the pain point or pleasure point they have change,
Okay.
right? So for anyone who was doing any form of writing or any form of programming or any form of content synthesis, and that's what the company did for their clients, well, that work went to zero when AI came about.
Right. Yeah.
If that was your CPOP, then you need to most likely change the CPOP to say, hey, we work with AI to do that. Or maybe that's part of the tell me more. Maybe the CPOP stays the same, right? And that now
Right.
becomes part of the tell me more answer.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I like that because I think that's one of the pieces that we have difficulty when you talk about clarity, right? And that's just as leaders being able to, there was a class we facilitated the other day, communicating, over communicating with clarity. I think that's a big piece of what you just talked about.
I think uh, there are so many consultants that have made so much money focused on one unique thing, and then they get it and make it really complicated.
Hmm.
So I like simple,
Yeah.
right? I
What's the term? KIS as a kiss, right? Keep it
Yeah, the
simple,
kiss.
stupid.
Yeah, I love simple. Simple is not easy.
Yeah,
Simple, however, allows you to look at every process that sits inside a company today and go, do we really need this?
yeah,
Is it adding value or is it causing confusion?
yeah,
Um, and if it's not adding value, well, let's get rid of it. Let's focus on. Here's the thing that's interesting to me. When I look at companies and I hear companies say, we care about our employees,
yeah,
right? That certainly can't be true if there is only a 20% engagement rate on average of companies around the world,
yeah,
right? That's around the world, right?
yeah,
Which is what we call work has turned into something that really is work versus what's play. Because there is no CPOP, the employees have no idea what they're doing and how they're adding value, and all we care about is making money, right?
yeah,
The next thing I'll say is if we say customer service is important, why do we pay the customer service reps the smallest amount of money in the
ooh,
company?
yeah, yeah,
So the truth is, you could
yeah,
say it's important, but let me look at the numbers. And if you're paying your customer service people the least amount, guess what? You're lying.
yeah, yeah, right.
All right. So
Right. Their education level doesn't have to be that high. They don't have to have the certifications. They just need to be a button to seat sometimes. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Why aren't we paying them high? And that can go the same thing for teachers who spend the most time with
oh,
all our kids, right? And we rely
oh,
on them for so much. We don't pay them a lot.
dude, we could do a good show on that one because the education system that's in the world today was built to produce the type of employees we needed for the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. Ooh.
The educational system that's in place today is not the type of people we need for the AI-based future.
Yeah. Ooh. Like you said, we could talk a lot about that one. So what would you say? What would you say if you're working with leaders today and what would you say would be the, I guess, would be your number one, I won't say pet peeve, but one of the number one things that you see that keep leaders from really building an effective team and being able to be productive?
Hmm. God, I have to figure out how to choose just one.
It's right. I know you mentioned one earlier, and that is not being coachable because I'm always right. I'm the smartest one in the room.
Yeah, there's so many rules that we've been taught on what does it mean to be a good leader that are the opposite of what you should be to be a credible leader,
Uh,
right?
I like,
And people should follow you because they want to, not just because it's your title,
yeah, I agree with you on that one.
right? And so I don't know, there are so many. The Do you mind if I share the executive abundance framework? Because I might be able to answer some of that
Sure, because I
question.
was going to ask you to dive into your book a little bit as well. So yeah, that's cool. That's great.
So what I want to do, now that I found this framework, it is a simple way to run an organization, even if it's an organization of one
Yeah.
or 100,000 or a million, right? It's super simple. And what I'll say is my dissertation focus was on the short-termism
Okay.
that has come about because of quarterly financial reports,
Okay.
right? And so all we care about is we care about what's happening next quarter. How
Right.
can I report that? And everything. And this is pervasive across all of society.
Yeah.
And what we focus on is employee optimization, which is how do we make sure we have less employees and pay less money, right?
Right.
So, and with AI, the downside with AI and robotics, the most optimized form of company is a company with very little or no employees.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Eric, if we have zero employees or low employees inside companies, and our economy is based on consumerism, where do they get the money to consume? Because we're not a socialist
Right.
country, and we don't want to use something like universal basic income. Anyhow, we'll put that aside for a second. Let me share with
And,
you.
and as you go into sharing your screen, I just want to put this out here. You are the first guest I've ever had who shares the screen with slides and presentation. I love it.
Well, it's I had a friend of mine say, Mitchell, you're really good at what you do, but you don't show up the way you really are. So let me fix this for you.
Got you. I like it.
Momentum. Okay. How much you want? I just want to be with you. I'm going to do it for you. Great.
Uh,
Right? Just I said yes. Uh,
nice.
the executive abundance is a very simple 4x5. It starts with the engine. And so
Okay.
if you ask me what comes first, if you'll notice, it's clarity.
Yeah.
And then once you have clarity, then you can look at the 10 values of credibility because it's the clarity or the credibility associated with that clarity. Now, for the first 5.5 years, when I talked about clarity and credibility, I made an assumption. My assumption is people were consistent about their credibility and that they were the same sort of person or the same sort of company in times of scarcity and success.
Yeah.
And it turns out I was wrong. Like you can't make that assumption.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe you and I are always like that, but you need to actually document it. So the executive abundance engine is, and all of these things are ordered and interdependent: clarity, credibility, consistency, and then commitment.
Okay.
Right now, what's interesting is let's go back to the 98%. If 98% of companies and individuals don't have clarity, the rest of the engine, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just, putting the wrong fuel into a car, it just
Right.
doesn't work as well,
And
right?
I have to mention, I've done that before. The old Honda, you remember the old Honda hatchback? Yeah, we pulled up to a gas station and they had the diesel and the unleaded there, and I accidentally grabbed the diesel. It didn't come out well.
Yeah, one of my trips to Europe, I killed the engine in the car by not knowing the difference.
Yeah,
And
so companies don't want to blow that white smoke. It's a done. It's a wrap then.
so what's interesting about the ecosystem, and I think I mentioned to you earlier, Eric, I'm going to play with substituting out the ecosystem,
Okay.
for the military, and we'll come up with an ecosystem there.
All right.
But in corporations, the ecosystem, everything starts with family and self.
Okay.
By the way, this is not how it works today. The
Okay.
only thing we care about today is investors. I
Hmm.
sat on the board of a public firm.
Right.
Every decision I made, every time the CEO brought me a question, the lens that I wore, because I had fiduciary responsibility for the investors, is how is this going to affect next quarter?
Okay.
That's the only thing I knew. So
That's
that's
it.
that's what I did, right? If the only thing you measure is how you're doing next quarter, the rest of the world is myopic, right? You don't know about the rest, right?
Right.
So what I will say is what's most important? Family and self.
Yeah.
If the 30% of the time when you're not working, when you're home and things are not working, or you don't take care of your health, or any of that stuff happen, it's going to come into work as you as a leader.
Yeah.
What comes next is employees. And we talked before, if employees, or if only 20% of employees are engaged, we're doing something wrong.
Right.
We may even empower their employees, but we certainly don't respect them.
Hmm.
So how do we empower and respect the employees? But if we do, what will happen is the employees will take care of the customers.
Right.
If we take care of the customers, they will take care of the investors.
Right.
And we do this in a larger community.
I like it.
So that's what the executive abundance, notice. This is really simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
That, that's a
It is
piece.
not easy.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's a good piece for leaders to understand, or just individuals, period. How I show up at work can trigger a downfall or what was it? I'd say a momentum shift, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. You should use that word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Sometimes if you're open and transparent and things are not going well, let's use an easy one. A child is sick
Hmm.
or a child enter the hospital. That's not an easy one, but that's better than a spousal problem,
Yeah,
right?
right. It happens a lot. Yes.
Right. And so what about the leader that never talks about it but takes it out on their people
Mm.
versus talking about it and actually being transparent,
Yeah.
right? And authentic
Right.
and vulnerable, right? Those are just credibility values.
Right. And you're talking about not sitting there being friends with everybody and sharing your deepest secrets, but maybe even having coaching sessions where you can talk with somebody and really air things out, right?
Here's the interesting part. This is something that a really good leader, let's say, and we'll stick with the analogy of a kid getting sick. And let's say there's somebody 2 or 3 levels down that actually went through something very similar.
Okay.
Going to that person and say, hey, can we talk privately? Because I'd like you to coach me to help me understand how I should be thinking and what I should do differently.
Now that's an interesting twist on that. Yeah.
Think about that. As simple as that sounds,
Yeah.
how many leaders would not violate the hierarchy associated with that?
Man, you talk about the level of trust, the respect, the connection that you can create there. And I think that's beautiful. That's big.
So
Like,
that's kind of so it's not quite an easy answer in
yeah.
terms of what is the one thing people do wrong. Probably the biggest thing people do wrong is because they've tried to put on paper so focused what they're doing and how they're doing it. And the one measurement is money at the end of the quarter, is that people will optimize their environment around those measurements. And in optimizing that environment, they may end up hurting the whole, even though individually each one of the executive team is really firing all cylinders,
Right.
but they don't have the opportunity to focus on the entire ecosystem. They're not seeing how one thing here will affect something else,
Yeah.
particularly when we're talking about employee health, we're talking about your own personal health, we're talking about customer sat, we're talking about the community. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's big, man. I love the way you've talked what you've talked about today, man. I hate to cut it off because I truly enjoyed this. This is great. I can dive down in the weeds and just sit here and go, all right, keep going, keep going. But we can't do that. I can't do that
Well,
to
you
you.
and I will have more time, but maybe not now.
All right. And I'm looking forward to it. So put us on a high note. Tell us what really excites you about what you do.
Oh man, I 4 or 5 years ago, I recognized something really valuable. I recognized that I hit all my bucket list items.
Okay.
I was in a room. I'm part of the Marshall Goldsmith 100 Coaches. I was in a room. Marshall was giving his talk on enough. One of the big problems we have in the world today is we've been taught that enough is never enough. So
Right.
Marshall was talking about that, and doing that talk, I'm like, huh. I never actually kept a bucket list, but if I had one, I'm like, I hit all of these, like all the things I wanted, right?
I like it.
Um, and so I'm walking out the room. I'm with a fellow 100 coach, and I go, you know, I've hit all my bucket list items. And she turned to me and she goes, well, you need to add to it. And I immediately turned to her and said, I don't think you just heard what Marshall just said.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. What
what's
does he know?
interesting is I'm at this stage in my life where I do things because I have looked at the chaos that's in the world
Okay.
and I've come up with very simple frameworks. Doesn't mean they're easy to deploy,
Right.
just very simple frameworks. And one of the things I can tell you I do that I love, this is so amazing. And this is the encouragement to really think about your CPOP. What's interesting is um, one of the goals that I've had uh, once I started focusing on the CPOP concept is, have I changed the life of one human for the rest of their lives?
Okay.
And I have to decide if that's still the right goal, right? It was the right goal until I really started diving into executive abundance. And now post dissertation and deployment is not the right goal. And maybe it is, I'm not sure.
Got you.
Um, but when I can sit with a human, whether they're running a large company or they're just themselves, and I can allow them to see in 3 to 9 words where they're executing on their purpose,
Right.
it's it. First of all, everyone gets excited. Now,
Right.
that's the good part.
Yeah.
The bad part is that 90% of the people who get excited will forget their CPOP somewhere between 2 hours and 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Well, because what happens is the world gets in the way.
Got
The
you.
chaos of all these other, like, you can't possibly imagine it, Mitchell. It can't be that simple.
Yeah.
Like it can't be simply I'm a servant leader and with the intent and commitment to do the right thing, and I've defined my audience and the pain point or pleasure point they have, and if I just use these 5 words, that everything will be easy. It can't be that simple. So they'll start talking to a couple people, and the people, oh no, it's not that. You do this and you do that,
Right.
and then they'll slowly let their excitement fade.
Yeah.
My encouragement to everyone who's listening: identify your CPOP. It's actually, the URL is the cpoparchitect.com. You can go there and do it yourself.
Okay.
Or get time on my calendar and identify your CPOP and be part of the 10%.
I like
Be
it.
part of the world that goes, oh my God, I'm now going to use that as a compass.
Yeah.
And then you'll fall into the bucket of your life has been changed for the rest of your life, because that level of clarity will just be pervasive everywhere.
I like it. I can't wait to see you do that in person.
Oh, lovely.
So tell us, where do you see Executive Abundance, your book? Where do you see the vision for that? What's that?
It's given that this is my 68th book,
Oh man.
it's not about how many books sell,
Okay.
right? That's a great thing. And at different points in time, I've had different value. I'm, bestseller in at least 8 of my books. This one was a #1 new release. I mean, but it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
What really matters is that the right person who's ready for it gets it in their hand.
Okay.
Now, notice I said interesting words here.
Yeah.
They get it in their hand. It doesn't mean I sell it to them.
Right.
I will give it to the right people. We'll make sure it gets in the right hands. It's not about book sales ever. It's about, is this the type of content? Is this the right framework? Is this the right approach and this is what Executive Abundance really
Yeah.
is giving permission to the CEO, to the board, to the leader to do more than focus just on how much money am I making this month, this quarter, this year.
Got you.
To allow them and give them permission to focus on their own family, to focus on the employee base, and to really add value to customers, and maybe even to spend time and allow the community to be propped up.
What do you got coming up?
Well, I think I'm heading to Washington sometime soon to speak to a bunch of people. That'll be fun. I've got a conference in Atlanta.
All right.
I think what I'm doing from a networking perspective now is finding the people who are good in the types of organizations that they would be much more amenable to this.
Okay.
So when I was doing the dissertation work, I really hadn't thought about family businesses. But if you think about what a family business does and what it's made for, you would think they would care about the family itself and the customers and the community, right?
Right.
Like, so I am filling my calendar with talking to people who have large customer bases of family businesses, because it seems like a good place to play.
Right.
At some point in time, I'll start talking to franchisors, because the goal of a franchisor is to create an executive abundance environment for the franchisee.
Yeah.
Seems very obvious, right? So it's the question becomes, where do I play and where can I have fun? And that's really what's next for me is I'm going to go back to kind of where the momentum brings me. It's the universe is going to bring me gifts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen, and then something fun will happen.
There we go. I like it. And that's the way you've operated for a long time. And it's worked.
Indeed.
The
Yes,
system
indeed.
is in place. I love it, man. So, Dr. Mitchell Levy, man, thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate you, your time and the wisdom that you've dropped, the executive abundance. I've got mine right here, and I'm waiting to dive into it. I've been working on
Nice.
some things, so
Nice.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
diving
Yeah,
into
me too.
that.
I got a couple.
So I'm going to be diving into it, man. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, seeing you operate in person. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for this week's episode of the Momentum Shift Podcast and Radio Show with your host, Sierra Collier, the Mayor of Motivation, and our guest, Dr. Mitchell Levy. Until next time, just keep pushing because nobody's going to do it for you. Take care.
Thank you for joining The Momentum Shift, a show bringing you interviews and stories of incredible people to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results to ultimately create the life-changing momentum shift that will improve your life. Join host Eric Collier, the Mayor of Motivation and Mental Quicksand Expert, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for The Momentum Shift, the show and change you've been looking for.